Hi, I want to share a little story with you about a dear friend who passed about 20 years ago, and I miss this man dearly. And it's a very good chance that you might have actually heard of this gentleman. His name was John Henry Faulk. Now, if you don't know who that is, it's okay. I'm going to tell you. In the 1950s, there was a horrible thing happening in Washington, D.C., and that was the McCarthy trials, the McCarthy House Un-American activities run by Joseph McCarthy from Minnesota. And as many people said, McCarthy found a communist under every rock, and if he didn't find one, he would put one there. The problem with his witch hunt, literal witch hunt, is it destroyed lives of innocent people. And all it took was if you were suggested to be a communist, the media hung you as a communist. And companies and businesses and media were terrified of anything that Joseph McCarthy, Senator McCarthy, would present. Well, there was a young gentleman, he was in his late 20s, and he had become a Will Rogers style humorist. And he was from Austin, Texas. Brilliant gentleman, John Henry Faulk. And he had gone to work at CBS and some radio stations and networks in New York City. And as people would say, he was the darling of the social scene because people loved that country style wit, that slow, thoughtful approach to life. Because in New York City, you get the hustle, bustle, and the intensity. John Henry could tell a story, and he would tell it slowly and intensely. And it would touch you in your heart, even if you were a New Yorker who ran at twice the speed of anybody in Texas. So one day, McCarthy's people nailed him and said, "You're a communist. You have to appear before the House on Un-American Affairs." He did. And McCarthy asked him, "Are you a communist?" He said, "No." "Are you Republican?" "No." "Democrat?" "No." He said, "You got any communist friends?" He said, "I sure do. I got Republican friends. I got Democratic friends. I even got a few Muslim friends. I got one guy who's a Buddhist." You say that's what, when you're American, you can have any friends you want. He said, that doesn't make you like them. It just makes you a fellow that has a lot of friends. I got a lot of friends. Well, McCarthy didn't like his, quote, smart aleck attitude. And John Henry didn't like being questioned on his perfect right to have any friend he wants. And it's none of anybody's business what his affiliation was, his religion, or anything else. That is, in fact, un-American to ask those kind of questions. So he lost his job. He was fired because he might be a communist. He didn't take it lying down. He went to Houston, Texas, got himself an attorney named Racehorse Haynes. Racehorse Haynes was the kind of guy who could buy a 2x4 in a courtroom. They went to court. They got a judgment for $5 million in the mid-50s. Now that is a huge, huge amount of money at that time. I can't give you an exact amount, but it would be 50 to 60 million today. What I learned from this man being my friend, I learned that in every case, he never backed down. He never backed down on principle. He never backed down on his true love for this country. And he was always true to God and to himself. Always, always. And when I started writing a lot, and he had written many, many, many books and told many stories, I took my material to him. And I said, "John Henry, what do you think?" And he says, "You got my talent. Keep going." if only that were true, I would be very grateful. But he felt like I should keep going and keep working. But I got from him that in every true sense of the word, this was a man who challenged life better. And McCarthy was shut down. After that, one person stood up and said, Mr. McCarthy, have you no shame? And that's all it took. It was over. McCarthy era was over. My friend took him down. And I'm so proud. You see, when you follow your principles, when you go out and you challenge life better, you have no idea how far and how deep an impact you as one human being could possibly do for others. Yeah, it's a little emotional. But that's what I loved about this individual. I'm a conservative. He was a liberal. And I always told him, you're my favorite liberal. And he would say, thank you, Brother Petermann. So until next time, do what John Henry did. Challenge life better. Be well.